Hello. Today we are reading the double Torah portion of Matot-Massai. This is found in the book of Numbers, or Bamidbar, from chapter 30 and verse 2 through the end of the book. When a man vows a vow to Yahweh, or swears an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Also, when a woman vows a vow to Yahweh and binds herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hears her vow, and her bond with which she has bound her soul, and her father holds his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond with which she has bound her soul shall stand. But if her father disallow her in the day that he hears, none of her vows or of her bonds with which she has bound her soul shall stand, and Yahweh will forgive her because her father disallowed her. If she be married to a husband while her vows are on her, or the rash utterance of her lips with which she has bound her soul, and her husband hear it and holds his peace at her in the day that he hears it, then her vows shall stand, and her bonds with which she has bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallow her in the day that he hears it, then he shall make void her vow which is on her, and the rash utterance of her lips with which she has bound her soul, and Yahweh will forgive her. But the vow of a widow, or of her who is divorced, even everything with which she has bound her soul, shall stand against her. If she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her, and didn't disallow it, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond with which she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband made them null and void in the day that he heard them, then whatever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and Yahweh will forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. But if her husband altogether hold his peace at her from day to day, then he establishes all her vows, or all her bonds which are on her. He has established them because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them. But if he shall make them null and void after that he has heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. These are the statutes which Yahweh commanded Moshe between a man and his wife, between a father and his daughter, being in her youth, in her father's house. Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianim, afterward ye shall be gathered to your people. Moshe spoke to the people, saying, Arm you men from among you for the war, that you may go against Midian, to execute Yahweh's vengeance on Midian. Of every tribe 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel shall you send to the war. So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. Moshe sent them, 1,000 of every tribe to the war, them and Phinehas the son of Eleazar the Cohen, to the war, with the vessels of the sanctuary and the trumpets for the alarm in his hand. They warred against Midian as Yahweh commanded Moshe, and they killed every male. They killed the kings of the Midian with the rest of their slain, Tavi and Rechem and Zur and Hur and Reva, the 5 kings of Midian. Bilam also the son of Beor they killed with the sword. The children of Israel took captive the women of Midian and their little ones, and all their cattle, and all their flocks, and all their goods they took for a prey. All their cities and the places in which they lived, and all their encampments they burned with fire. They took all the spoil, and all the prey, both of man and of animal. They brought the captives and the prey and the spoil to Moshe, and to Eleazar the Cohen, and to the congregation of the children of Israel, to the camp at the plains of Moab, which are by the Jordan at Jericho. Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen, and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them outside of the camp. Moshe was angry with the officers of the host, the captains of thousands and the captains of hundreds, who came from the service of the war. Moshe said to them, Have ye saved all the women alive? Behold, These caused the children of Israel, through the counsel of Balaam, to commit trespass against Yahweh in the matter of Peor, and so the plague was among the congregation of Yahweh. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has known man by lying with him. But all the girls who have not known man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. Encamp you outside of the camp 7 days. Whoever has killed any person, and whoever has touched any slain, purify yourselves on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, you and your captives. As to every garment, and all that is made of skin, and all work of goat's hair, and all things made of wood, you shall purify yourselves. Eleazar the Cohen said to the men of war who went to the battle, This is the statute of the law which Yahweh has commanded Moshe. However, the gold and the silver, the brass, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that may abide the fire, you shall make to go through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the water for impurity, and all that doesn't withstand the fire, you shall make to go through the water. You shall wash your clothes on the 7th day, and ye shall be clean, and afterward you shall come into the camp. Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Take the sum of the prey that was taken, both of man and of animal, you and Eleazar the Cohen, and the heads of the fathers' houses of the congregation, and divide the prey into 2 parts, between the men skilled in war who went out to battle, and all the congregation. Levy a tribute to Yahweh of the men of war who went out to battle, 1 soul of 500, both of the persons, and of the oxen, and of the donkeys, and of the flocks. Take it of their half, and give it to Eleazar the Cohen for Yahweh's heave offering. Of the children of Israel's half, you shall take 1 drawn out of every 50, of the persons, of the oxen, of the donkeys, and of the flocks, even of all the cattle, and give them to the Levites, who keep the charge of the tent of Yahweh. Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen did as Yahweh commanded Moshe. Now the prey, over and above the spoils which the men of war took, was 675,000 sheep, and 72,000 oxen, and 71,000 donkeys, and 32,000 persons in all, of the women who had not known man by lying with him. The half, which was the portion of those who went out to war, was in number 337,500 sheep. And Yahweh's tribute of the sheep was 675. The oxen were 36,000, of which Yahweh's tribute was 72. The donkeys were 30,500, of which Yahweh's tribute was 61. The persons were 16,000, of whom Yahweh's tribute was 32 persons. Moshe gave the tribute, which was Yahweh's heave offering, to Eleazar the Cohen, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. Of the children of Israel's half, which Moshe divided off from the men who warred, now the congregation's half was 337,500 sheep, and 36,000 oxen, and 3,500 donkeys, and 16,000 persons. Even of the children of Israel's half, Moshe took 1 drawn out of every 50, both of man and of animal, and gave them to the Levites, who kept the charge of the tent of Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. The officers who were over the thousands of the host, the captains of thousands and the captains of hundreds, came near to Moshe, and they said to Moshe, Your servants have taken the sum of the men of war who are under our charge, and there lacks not 1 man of us. We have brought Yahweh's offering, what every man has gotten, of jewels, of gold, ankle chains and bracelets, signet rings, earrings, and armlets, to make atonement for our souls before Yahweh. Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen took the gold of them, even all worked jewels. All the gold of the heave offering that they offered up to Yahweh, of the captains of thousands and of the captains of hundreds, was 16,750 shekels. For the men of war had taken spoils, every man for himself. Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen took the gold of the captains of thousands and of hundreds, and brought it into the tent of meeting for a memorial for the children of Israel before Yahweh. Now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle. And when they saw the land of Yazer and the land of Gilead, that, behold, the place was a place for cattle. The children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spoke to Moshe and to Eleazar the Cohen and to the princes of the congregation, saying, Adarot and Divan and Yazer and Nimrah and Heshbon and El-Aleh and Sibam and Nebo and Beon, the land which Yahweh struck before the congregation of Israel, is a land for cattle, and your servants have cattle. They said, If we have found favor in your sight, let this land be given to your servants for a possession. Don't bring us over the Jordan. Moshe said to the children of Gad and the children of Reuben, Shall your brothers go to the war, and shall you sit here? Why discourage from going over into the land which Yahweh has given them? Thus did your fathers when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel that they should not go into the land which Yahweh had given them. Yahweh's anger was kindled in that day, and he swore, saying, Surely none of the men who came up out of Mitzrayim from 20 years old and upward shall see the land which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, and Yeshua the son of Nun, because they have wholly followed Yahweh. Yahweh's anger was kindled against Israel, and he made them wander back and forth in the wilderness 40 years, until all the generation who had done evil in the sight of Yahweh was consumed. Behold, you are risen up in your father's place, an increase of sinful men, to augment yet the fierce anger of Yahweh toward Israel. For if you turn away from after him, he will yet again leave them in the wilderness, and you will destroy all his people. They came near to him and said, We will build sheepfolds here for our cattle, and cities for our little ones. But we ourselves will be ready, armed to go before the children of Israel, until we have brought them to their place, and our little ones shall dwell in fortified cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return to our houses until the children of Israel have inherited every man his inheritance. For we will not inherit with them on the other side of the Jordan and forward, because our inheritance is fallen to us on this side of the Jordan eastward. Moshe said to them, If you will do this thing, if you will arm yourselves to go before Yahweh to the war, and every armed man of you will pass over the Jordan before Yahweh, until he has driven out his enemies from before him, and the land is subdued before Yahweh, then afterward you shall return and be guiltless towards Yahweh and towards Israel, and this land shall be to you for a possession before Yahweh. But if you will not do so, behold, you have sinned against Yahweh, and be sure your sin will find you out. Build you cities for your little ones, and folds for your sheep, and do that which has proceeded out of your mouth. The children of Gad and the children of Reuben spoke to Moshe, saying, Your servants will do as my Lord commands. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our cattle shall be there in the cities of Gilead. But your servants will pass over, every man who is armed for war, before Yahweh to battle, as my Lord says. So Moshe gave charge concerning them to Eleazar the Cohen, and to Yeshua the son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers' houses of the tribes of the children of Israel. Moshe said to them, If the children of Gad and the children of Reuben will pass with you over the Jordan, every man who is armed to battle before Yahweh, and the land shall be subdued before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilead for a possession. But if they will not pass over with you armed, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. The children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, As Yahweh has said to your servants, so will we do. We will pass over armed before Yahweh into the land of Canaan, and the possession of our inheritance shall remain with us beyond the Jordan. Moshe gave to them, even to the children of Gad, and to the children of Reuben, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorite, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, the land according to the cities of it, with their borders, even the cities of the land round about. The children of Gad built Divon, and Atarot, and Aroer, and Atarot Shaphan, and Yazer, and Yagbeha, and Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran, fortified cities and folds for sheep. The children of Reuben built Heshbon, and El-Aleh, and Kiriataim, and Nebo, and Baal-meon, their names being changed, and Sibmah, and they gave other names to the cities which they built. The children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilad, and took it, and dispossessed the Amorite who were therein. Moshe gave Gilad to Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he lived therein. Yair, the son of Manasseh, went and took the towns of it, and called them Avot Yair. Novah went and took Kenat and the villages of it, and called it Novah after his own name. These are the journeys of the children of Israel when they went forth out of the land of Mitzrayim by their hosts under the hand of Moshe and Aaron. Moshe wrote their goings out according to their journeys by the mitzvah of Yahweh, and these are their journeys according to their goings out. They traveled from Ramses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month. On the next day after the Pesach, the children of Israel went out with a high hand in the sight of all the Mitzrayim, while the Mitzrayim were burying all their firstborn, whom Yahweh had struck among them. On their Elohims also Yahweh executed judgments. The children of Israel traveled from Ramses and encamped in Sukkot. They traveled from Sukkot and encamped in Etam, which is in the edge of the wilderness. They traveled from Etam and turned back to Pi HaKerod, which is before Baal Zephon, and they encamped before Migdol. They traveled from before Hahirot and passed through the midst of the sea into the wilderness, and they went 3 days' journey into the wilderness of Etam and camped in Marah. They traveled from Marah and came to Elim, and in Elim were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there. They traveled from Elim and encamped by the Sea of Suf. They traveled from the Sea of Suf and encamped in the wilderness of Zin. They traveled from the wilderness of Zin and encamped in Dovka. They traveled from Dovka and encamped in Alush. They traveled from Alush and encamped in Rephidim, where was no water for the people to drink. They traveled from Rephidim and encamped in the wilderness of Sinai. They traveled from the wilderness of Sinai and encamped in Kibrot Hata'ava. They traveled from Kibrot Hata'ava and encamped in Hatzerot. They traveled from Hatzerot and encamped in Ritmah. They traveled from Ritmah and encamped in Ramon Peretz. They traveled from Ramon Peretz and encamped in Libnah. They traveled from Libnah and encamped in Rasah. They traveled from Rasah and encamped in Kehelatah. They traveled from Kehelatah and encamped in Mount Shepher. They traveled from Mount Shepher and encamped in Haradah. They traveled from Haradah and encamped in Machelot. They traveled from Machelot and encamped in Tekhat. They traveled from Tekhat and encamped in Terach. They traveled from Terach and encamped in Mitkah. They traveled from Mitkah and encamped in Hashmonah. They traveled from Hashmonah and encamped in Moserot. They traveled from Moserot and encamped in Ben Yakan. They traveled from Beni Yakan and encamped in Hor Haggidgad. They traveled from Hor Haggidgad and encamped in Yotvatah. They traveled from Yotvatah and encamped in Abronah. They traveled from Abronah and encamped in Etzion Geber. They traveled from Etzion Geber and encamped in the wilderness of Zin, the same as Kadesh. They traveled from Kadesh and encamped in Mount Hor in the edge of the land of Edom. Aaron the Cohen went up into Mount Hor at the mitzvah of Yahweh and died there in the 40th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Mitzrayim in the 5th month on the 1st day of the month. Aaron was 123 years old when he died in Mount Hor. The Canaanite, the king of Arad, who lived in the south of the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the children of Israel. They traveled from Mount Hor and encamped in Zalmonah. They traveled from Zalmonah and encamped in Punon. They traveled from Punon and encamped in Avot. They traveled from Avot and encamped in Iye Abarim in the border of Moab. They traveled from Iyim and encamped in Divon Gad. They traveled from Divon Gad and encamped in Almon and Divlatayim. They traveled from Almon at Divlatayim and encamped at the mountains of Avariman before Nebo. They traveled from the mountains of Avariman and encamped in the plains of Moab by the Yarden at Jericho. They encamped by the Yarden from Beth Jeshimoth even to Abel Hashshittim in the plains of Moab. Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the plains of Moab by the Yarden at Jericho, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and tell them, When you pass over the Yarden into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their figured stones, and destroy all their molten images, and demolish all their high places. And you shall take possession of the land and dwell therein. For to you have I given the land to possess it. You shall inherit the land by lot, according to your families. To the more you shall give the more inheritance, and to the fewer you shall give the less inheritance. Wherever the lot falls to any man, that shall be his, according to the tribes of your fathers shall you inherit. But if you will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then shall those who you let remain of them be as pricks in your eyes, and as thorns in your sides, and they shall vex you in the land which you dwell. It shall happen that as I thought to do to them, so will I do to you. Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Command the children of Israel, and tell them, When you come into the land of Canaan, this is the land that shall fall to you for an inheritance, even the land of Canaan, according to the borders of it. Then your south quarter shall be from the wilderness of Zin, along by the side of Edom, and your south quarter shall be from the end of the salt sea eastward, and your border shall turn about southward of the ascent of Akrabim, and pass along to Zin, and the goings out of it shall be southward of Kadesh Barnea. And it shall go forth to Hatzar Ador, and pass along to Atzmon. And the border shall turn about from Atzmon to the brook of Mitzrayim, and the goings out of it shall be at the sea. For the western border ye shall have the great sea and the border of it. This shall be your west border. This shall be your north border. From the great sea you shall mark out for you Mount Hor. From Mount Hor you shall mark out to the entrance of Hamat, and the goings out of the border shall be at Zedad, and the border shall go forth to Ziphron, and the goings out of it shall be at Hatzar Enan. This shall be your north border. You shall mark out your east border from Hatzar Enan to Shifam, and the border shall go down from Shifam to Riblah on the east side of Ain, and the border shall go down and shall reach to the side of the sea of Kinneret eastward, and the border shall go down to the Yarden, and the goings out of it shall be at the salt sea. This shall be your land according to the borders of it round about. Moshe commanded the children of Israel, saying, This is the land which you shall inherit by lot, which Yahweh has commanded to give to the 9 tribes and to the half-tribe. For the tribe of the children of Reuben, according to their fathers' houses, and the tribe of the children of Gad, according to their fathers' houses, have received, and the half-tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance. The 2 tribes and the half-tribe have received their inheritance beyond the Jordan at Jericho eastward toward the sunrise. Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, These are the names of the men who shall divide the land to you for inheritance: Eleazar the Cohen, and Yeshua the son of Nun. You shall take 1 prince of every tribe to divide the land for inheritance. These are the names of the men: of the tribe of Yehudah, Caleb the son of Yefuneh; of the tribe of the children of Shimon, Shemuel the son of Ammihud; of the tribe of Benjamin, Elidad the son of Kizlan; of the tribe of children of Dan, a prince, Buki the son of Yogli; of the children of Yosef, of the tribe of children of Manasseh, a prince, Haniel the son of Ephod; of the tribe of the children of Ephraim, a prince, Kemuel the son of Shiftan; of the tribe of the children of Zebulun, a prince, Elisaphan the son of Parnah; of the tribe of the children of Issachar, a prince, Paltiel the son of Azan; of the tribe of the children of Asher, a prince, Achihud the son of Shelemi; of the tribe of the children of Naphtali, a prince, Pedahel the son of Ammihud. These are they whom Yahweh commanded to divide the inheritance to the children of Israel in the land of Canaan. Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the plains of Moab by the Yarden at Jericho, saying, Command the children of Israel that they give to the Levites of the inheritance of their possession cities to dwell in, and suburbs for the cities round about them shall you give to the Levites. The cities shall they have to dwell in, and their suburbs shall be for their cattle, and for their substance, and for all their animals. The suburbs of the cities which you shall give to the Levites shall be from the wall of the city and outward 1,000 cubits round about. You shall measure outside the city for the east side 2,000 cubits, and for the south side 2,000 cubits, and for the west side 2,000 cubits, and for the north side 2,000 cubits, the city being in the midst. This shall be to them the suburbs of the cities. The cities which you shall give to the Levites, they shall be the 6 cities of refuge, which you shall give for the manslayer to flee to, and besides them you shall give 42 cities. All the cities which you shall give to the Levites shall be 48 cities. Them shall you give with their suburbs. Concerning the cities which you shall give of the possession of the children of Israel, from the many you shall take many, and from the few you shall take few. Every one according to his inheritance, which he inherits, shall he give of his cities to the Levites. Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and tell them, When you pass over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall appoint you cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the manslayer who kills any person unwittingly may flee there. The cities shall be to you for refuge from the avenger, that the manslayer may not die until he stands before the congregation for judgment. The cities which you shall give shall be for you 6 cities of refuge. You shall give 3 cities beyond the Jordan, and 3 cities shall you give in the land of Canaan. They shall be cities of refuge. For the children of Israel, and for the stranger, and for the foreigner living among them, shall these six cities be for refuge, that everyone who kills any person unwittingly may flee there. But if he struck him with an instrument of iron so that he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. If he struck him with a stone in the hand, by which a man may die, and he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if he struck him with a weapon of wood in the hand, by which a man may die, and he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. The avenger of blood shall himself put the murderer to death. When he meets him, he shall put him to death. If he thrust him of hatred, or hurled at him, lying in wait so that he died, or in enmity struck him with his hand so that he died, he who struck him shall surely be put to death. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood shall put the murderer to death when he meets him. But if he thrusts him suddenly, without enmity, or hurled on him anything without lying in wait, or with any stone by which a man may die, not seeing him, and cast it on him so that he died, and he was not his enemy, neither sought his harm, then the congregation shall judge between the striker and the avenger of blood according to these ordinances. And the congregation shall deliver the manslayer out of the hand of the avenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to his city of refuge where he was fled. And he shall dwell therein until the death of the Kohen Gadol, who is appointed with the holy oil. But if the manslayer shall at any time go beyond the border of his city of refuge where he flees, and the avenger of blood find him outside of the border of his city of refuge, and the avenger of blood kill the manslayer, he shall not be guilty of blood, because he should have remained in his city of refuge until the death of the Kohen Gadol. But after the death of the Kohen Gadol, the manslayer shall return into the land of his possession. These things shall be for a statute and ordinance to you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whoever kills any person, the murderer shall be slain at the mouth of witnesses. But one witness shall not testify against any person that he died. Moreover, you shall take no ransom for the life of a murderer who is guilty of death, that he shall surely be put to death. You shall take no ransom for him who has fled to a city of refuge, that he may come again to dwell in the land until the death of the Kohen. So you shall not pollute the land in which you are, for blood that pollutes the land, and no expiation can be made for the land for the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him who shed it. You shall not defile the land which you inhabit, in the midst of which I dwell, for I Yahweh dwell in the midst of the children of Israel. The heads of the fathers' houses of the family of the children of Gilad, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, and of the families of the sons of Joseph came near and spoke before Moshe and before the princes, the heads of the fathers' houses of the children of Israel. And they said, Yahweh commanded my Lord to give the land for inheritance by lot to the children of Israel, and my Lord was commanded by Yahweh to give the inheritance of Zelophehad our brother to his daughters. If they be married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel, then will their inheritance be taken away from the inheritance of our fathers, and will be added to the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they shall belong. So will it be taken away from the lot of our inheritance. When the Jubilee of the children of Israel shall be, then will their inheritance be added to the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they shall belong. So will their inheritance be taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers. Moshe commanded the children of Israel according to the word of Yahweh, saying, The tribe of the sons of Joseph speaks right. This is a thing which Yahweh does command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, Let them be married to whom they think best, only into the family of the tribe of their father shall they be married. So shall no inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe, for the children of Israel shall cleave every one to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. Every daughter who possesses an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel shall be wife to one of the family of the tribe of her father. The children of Israel may possess every man the inheritance of his fathers. So shall no inheritance remove from one tribe to another tribe, for the tribes of the children of Israel shall cleave every one to his own inheritance. Even as Yahweh commanded Moshe, so did the daughters of Zelophehad, for Machlah, Tirzah, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, were married to their father's brothers' sons. They were married into the families of the sons of Manasseh, son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of the family of their father. These are the mitzvot and the ordinances which Yahweh commanded by Moshe to the children of Israel in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho.